Safe Passage, who work with young people in need of family reunion, said that last year, under the Dublin scheme, all the young people that they worked with on family reunion went through the legal system. They didn't try to go with people traffickers or with people smugglers to try a dangerous route. This year, however, under the new system, they said that a quarter of those children and young people that they had been working with instead had given up in frustration and sought to try illegal routes and ended up in the arms of people smugglers or people traffickers as a result. And those are the dangers that we face. If there aren't the safe legal routes for family reunion, we end up with more people being driven into the arms of these dangerous criminal gangs. Applications under the existing dedicated refugee family reunion route. Until the new framework is introduced, refugees will be covered by the same family migration rules and conditions as everyone else. Mr. Speaker, let me turn next to the action we're taking to ensure that every asylum hotel will be closed for good. Will she make people destitute so they just wander the streets in total chaos? No. Torture victims, Afghan interpreters, families with children, a practical plan to strengthen our border security, to fix the asylum chaos and to rebuild confidence in an asylum and immigration system that serves our national interest, protects our national security and reflects our national values. Because when we wave the Union flag, when we wave the St George's flag, when we sing God Save the King and celebrate everything that is great about Britain and about our country, we do so with pride because of the values that our flags, our king and our country represent. Slogans and not solutions, just government by gimmick, ramping up the rhetoric on refugees but picking fights simply to have someone else to blame when things go wrong. This bill isn't a solution. It is a con that risks making the chaos worse. Britain deserves better than this chaos. Britain is better than this. Mr. Speaker, we continue to believe that families staying together is important. And it's why we will seek to prioritise family groups among the applicants to come to Britain under our new deal with France. But reforms are needed. So in our asylum policy statement later this year, we will set out a new system for family migration, including looking at contribution requirements, longer periods before newly granted refugees can apply, and dedicated controlled arrangements for unaccompanied children and for those fleeing persecution who have family in the UK. And we aim to have some of those changes in place for the spring. But in the meantime, we do need to address the immediate pressures on local authorities and the risks from criminal gangs using family reunion as a pull factor to encourage more people onto dangerous boats. There are children's homes full in Italy and Greece, and over 1,000 children will sleep rough in Greece alone tonight. How are they safe? 10,000 children have disappeared in Europe. How are they safe? The agencies say that children are committing survival sex. They are being abused, subject to prostitution and rape. It is not insulting other European countries to offer to help. They want us to help. In August, I signed the new treaty with France, allowing us for the first time to directly return those who arrive on small boats. The first detentions took place the next day of people immediately on arrival in Dover, and we expect the first returns to begin later this month. Applications have also been opened for the reciprocal legal route, with the first cases under consideration, subject to strict security checks. We've made clear this is a pilot scheme, but the more we prove the concept at the outset, the better we will be able to develop and grow it. But the principles it embodies are crucial, because no one should be making these dangerous or illegal journeys on small boats, and if they do, we want to see them swiftly returned.
The things that I've always campaigned for have been about women's equality, about all of those sorts of things, about the deep equality of respect that we should have for every human being.
You would say that too. Well, something like the right for family life, for example, is supposed to actually has to be balanced against the rights of countries to be able to run a functioning immigration and asylum system.
But the trouble is that I don't understand how you're going to change it. In order to, if a judge decides that somebody is allowed to stay here on appeal because they have children here, for instance, how on earth would you, as a government minister, overrule that?
So what we'll do is change the rules that the judge is interpreting in the first place.
So you will change the ECHR, you'll junk the right to family life.
The Prime Minister has just met with his backbenchers. And the official briefing from that meeting says he's told MPs that they've gone as far as possible, but Rwanda didn't want to be part of anything that broke or disapplied international law. The statement from the Rwandan government: without lawful behaviour from the UK, Rwanda would not be able to continue with the Migration and Economic Development Partnership. You could not make this up. So our Supreme Court says the Rwanda scheme's a problem because of evidence that Rwanda isn't complying with international treaties on the treatment of asylum seekers, but the only thing stopping the British government ignoring international law completely is the Rwandan government. The Rwandan government keeping us on the straight and narrow. We should be clear, international law is important. It is because other countries know that we abide by it that we have been able to make these new agreements with France to return people who arrive on small boats, to make new agreements with Germany to stop the warehousing of small boats by criminal gangs, and to explore returns hubs partnerships with other European countries. But we also need the interpretation of international law to keep up with the realities and challenges of today's world. What does it mean for the promises that we made to the Afghan interpreters who served our country but who were too late to make the last flight out of Kabul as the tyranny was closing in on them? Shameful. The government told them to flee and find another way here, and they told us to tell people that as well. But the resettlement scheme isn't helping them, and if they arrive in this country, finally, this afternoon, perhaps by travelling through Ireland to get here, they will only ever be illegal in the eyes of the government who relied on the sacrifices they made for us. So if the government was serious, it would be working internationally to get a proper new agreement in place with France and Europe, including return agreements, and properly controlled and managed legal routes such as family reunion and reform of resettlement. Togetherness, fairness and decency, respect for each other, respect for the rule of law. That is what our country stands for. That is the British way to fix the problems we face. And I commend this statement to the House. Yeah.